Welcome to Rangers Radio on the Matchday show, the world's one and only unique live phone-in show for Rangers supporters all over the world. Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, hello and welcome back to Rangers Radio. Rangers 1, Jagiellonia, Bialystok 1, Jagiellonia going through 3-2 on aggregate. A disappointing Thursday night in Europe for Rangers yet again. Lots more questions and answers, and the sounds at Ibrox tells the story of the game. Joining myself, Robert, on the show will be Portbear. He's just having a technical issue at the moment. He'll be back in a few minutes. What we'll do is we'll get the phone lines opened for all the listeners out there who want to come in, give us their thoughts on it, get anything off their chest. Keep it PG. We are live, but you're more than welcome to join us. 0141 356 1972. Started well within the game itself. I think we could all see the 3-5-2 took a bit of time to get into the shape and how we're going to play and how Jagiellonia we're going to set up and how we're going to defend it as well, mate. So, as I say, we start off relatively okay and we get into it. Jagiellonia have a couple of chances, no clear cut, but again, you could see the issues defensively, which you expected, maybe playing the back three. Get a good bit of luck down the right-hand side. Jagiellonia, who looked lively. However, he ran his race about 70 minutes, but we'd used all substitutes by that point. Does well down the right-hand side, gets to the bar line and puts a ball across, and unfortunately no takers. But on towards the end of the day, watching, myself included, didn't see initially the handball. And then when you see the referee going for a VAR check, you never know what it is going to be for. Goes to the monitor and you can see the replay. It skips the hand of the defender, Kobayashi. And a penalty is awarded. And up steps captain Lawrence Shankland for his second Rangers goal, his first competitive goal, yet another penalty. Dispatches it well, puts it down the middle of the goal, leaves the goalkeeper no chance, who dives out the way. From there, Rangers looked comfortable in possession. Jagiellonia had a couple of chances, forcing Pandor into some saves, but without really testing the defence properly, who I thought in the first half in particular, defence looked okay and comfortable in their possession, in and out. Comfortable on the ball and set up pretty well. Kota and Gassama done a lot of defensive work off the ball as well, tracking back. And Gassama showed at times that he can defend as well as use a left foot. I think I've seen him use his left foot more tonight than I have in his whole Rangers career so far. A couple of chances towards the end of the first half. And I'll come back to the game. I think we've been joined by Bob Ger. Thanks for joining us, Bob Ger.
I'm very angry, frustrated, annoyed, Bob Ger. It's
yes,
everybody
indeed,
else
mate.
tonight, I suppose. Well, I've only got one thing to say, boys, and it's only my opinion. And I'm only an individual, obviously. McInnes, go now. There you go. There's a big statement for you. Go now. We had the same last year with Russell Martin. We're experiencing the same this year. And staring you in the face. The man's not got it for that job. So, that's my opinion on it. I may be right, I may be wrong. Certainly hope I'm wrong, but nah. So go now.
Well, Bob, you're a man of honesty, and I appreciate your honesty coming on to say something like that. Have you just not seen enough in these games to give you confidence, mate?
Have we not seen enough already, boys? I can't talk about opinions and what have you. Definitely.
I think I said on the show right at the start, mate, when McInnes was appointed, that I was kind of on the fence with the appointment. I did agree it looked a good fit, simply because when you look at the experience he's got in terms of management, it looked a good fit. Understands Scottish football, understands Rangers. That aspect I get. But I was also on the fence simply because as much as experience he's got, he's not won many trophies. And he's not got a lot of experience in Europe. And I think we're seeing here tonight and last week that in Europe, it's a different kettle of fish, mate. Domestically, he's a really good manager because we
That
can see
team
that
2
last
years
season.
ago would have destroyed that lot.
Absolutely, mate. You go back to 4 years ago, we were in a
You can't
Europa
go
League
back.
final, and this is where we're at. So, unfortunately, we drop out, mate, into the Conference League. But from the game itself, Bob G, was it that first half a better first half than you've seen of late?
Well, yeah. I thought they played. I thought they did not too bad in the first half. Not too bad at all. Didn't create a lot of chances, but they were getting at that team. If they continued the same in the second half, we could have maybe nicked another goal, held out, and went through the tie. But that's hypothetical. We didn't. But we're absolutely dreadful. Rangers have been a one-half team for too long now. And you know what I mean? It's been a one-half team. They were that last season, not this season.
Well, McInnes pointed it out in his interview before the game, Bob Jerry. He came out and said that on Sunday we seem to have a stronger second half, and it's been the case. And that's something we supporters have seen for far too long. As you say, last season was a lot of it.
No, they're right out with me.
Tonight, no. Tonight, I'll be honest, Bob Jerry, I thought, without knowing the reasons why we took Asgard off at half time, I'm not saying he was doing anything brilliant, but going to the 4-4-2, I felt we lost our way, mate.
But his presence is always there. He can always pull something out. He can always pull something out. They took him off. He's not got the legs anymore. He's got the World Cup legs. The Japanese laddie, he ran out of legs. You could see he was physically gone.
Nah, he was spent.
Finally, Curtis tore that team. He shreds last week in Poland. And he never started with the laddie tonight. He should have. Gassama did okay. But that was it. He seemed to start all right and shrink back into the same old Gassama. Couldn't beat anybody. I don't know why he didn't need to start with the boy Curtis. He played well against that team. It would probably be against the same pullback. And they weren't anything wonderful. They created one chance and they scored with it. But, as you say, that's European football. We're still in Europe, I believe, in this Conference League.
Yeah, we've got a game next Thursday, mate, against
next Thursday.
Jagiellonia.
Is it a one-off or is it 2 legs?
I believe it's 2 legs against Jagiellonia for a place in the group stages or league phase of the Conference League, mate.
Well, they'll be with the same standard as what you were playing tonight. They will. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel tonight. I didn't like coming on here slating people. Really didn't like it, but I'm really annoyed and upset and frustrated. So is a lot of people. Got to be.
Oh, of course we are, Bob Jan. That's the thing. It's the frustrating thing for us as supporters because we demand and expect better, and what we've seen at the start of this season is nowhere near good enough.
No. I'm sitting here next to the river. I might need to join my pals boat on a wee well. Well, we throw ourselves in the river. Talk to the dog.
He's doing all right. He's been quiet tonight. Is he feeling it as well?
He's all right. He loves outside. He's a star of RangersRadios who walks down me.
Oh, he is,
but,
mate. He is.
I'm sitting here near the river watching the sunset, watching Rangers sunset and all. But hey, when we go to score a League Cup tie on Sunday against St Mirren, we'll see how that goes.
And that's the thing, Bob J. You've got to pick yourself up and go again. There's no time to sit, feel sorry. You've got to go and answer.
There's no time to grieve. You've got to go.
And that becomes
right, boys, I'll sign off
well.
and I'll let you get on. You got many customers tonight, no?
Well, there may be a few coming in, mate, to get it off their chest, and it's good that we can do this kind of show. And it's always tough, as you know, coming on after a defeat.
It's great. Oh, hey.
He's somebody you
I'll still be there with the Bears, all right. Don't you worry. I'll always be there with the Rangers.
You enjoy your night,
Take care, lads. All the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Bob J.
That wasn't great, Robert, was it?
Well, come on, folks. No, it wasn't, mate. It wasn't. As I said, for me personally, I felt we lost the way in the second half, and it was down to the change in shape and formation. I thought we controlled the first half as best we could. Defence looked solid enough without being really tested. Midfield was working okay. Wide players were getting into good areas and driving on, taking players on. But that switch at half time to go to 4-4-2, I felt just we lost our way. The gaps appeared, and Shankland and Nadiri were having to get into the space that Asgard was in, which then made them run the race.
I agree with you, mate. I didn't understand the substitution either myself. I thought the back three that we started with were comfortable at the back. They weren't put under tremendous pressure, but they seemed to handle everything between the three and the goalkeeper. Midfield, done okay, but again, didn't produce anything, Robert, for me. And as for Nadiri, geez, I hate to slag a Rangers player, but the boy offers nothing. And Shanklin also offered nothing all night. We were toothless up front, lacked creativity, and things will need to change to get this team back into shape.
You're right, mate. You're right. There's a lot more concerns there for me than there was going into the game. I think we all knew the position we were in. I thought Shankland's general play was poor. Nadiri was quiet. I thought Gassama had one of his better games. And the defence, as you say, up to a point looked okay. Their goals, Fox, what was your take on their goals?
I thought the second goal was a good goal, to be fair. They put a ball across the box. I think it was Sterling that headed it backwards out. The boy picked it up, steadied himself and slotted a terrific cross to the back post and a good header to finish it. It was a really good goal, the second goal, mate. Or the other goal, you know. But once again, we fail. We win a half and then lose a half. I mean, that's the way things are going for the Rangers at the moment.
It is, mate, and as you say, their goal to win the game is a goal that you're looking at for us to kind of go and do with the likes of Shankland and Nadiri. Even when they went off, they brought on Miofsky, and Shankland was still on the park, of course, but I thought his general play was poor. He had a chance to get a couple of shots away, couldn't get out his feet, and then right at the end, Fernandes is the panic station sitting. Fernandes is playing as a striker. That's when you know you're in trouble.
Aye, I think it was a nudge to stick it up the park, mate, and try and score a goal. Anyway, we've been joined by Gary.
How you doing, Gary?
How you doing, guys? You okay? You hear me all right?
I hear you fine, mate. I felt better though.
Yeah, I'm deflated, mate. I try to find positives, but there is none, is there? I think I don't want. I might be like sound like off milk, but I don't want to go on the manager's back. I think it's just rubbish. It's just a horrible situation to be in, and I'm watching that, right, and I'm seeing players that have got ability, right, but they're not playing. It's a team game. If you can't play as a team, if you can't come together, can't make stuff happen together, you've got no chance. And that's what we've seen tonight. That's what I've seen anyway. I've seen a kind of lack of creativity. There was no like kind of what were they trying to do with the ball when they got it? Can you answer me? Can you tell me what? I didn't see any shape to us like going forward when we had the ball. We were trying to get it out wide. The two wingers done well in the first half. The young boy Yokota, he looked dangerous, but he's just come to the club. He's just turned up. He's just stepped off a plane. So no wonder he's knackered in the second half. Gassama, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was dangerous. He was trying stuff. He was going by players. He looked dangerous. He was creating. But the forwards, when we got in positions where somebody should be having a shot, it was like, do you want a shot? Do you want to take a shot? Get to him, he might have a shot. And you're kind of like, you're waiting for somebody to have a dig, and then when people do have digs, they're like Raskin, and he had his dig, it's about 40 yards over the bar. I thought he was taking that, I thought he was a shot at the rugby. So, disappointing. I don't think we should be sacking managers, put it that way, because that's got us nowhere. Let's be clear. Since Gerrard went, we have achieved nothing by bringing managers in and sacking them. So if it's not achieved, then how many have we been through now? The only real manager that I wanted to go and call from to go was Russell Martin, and possibly Beale by the end after the Celtic game when we should have went after them. We've hounded managers out in the past, mate, and it's no work for us. So how can anybody confidently say that's going to work this time? It's no. So we have to basically suck it up, shut up a wee bit, and just wait and see if the manager sorts this out. And if he doesn't, he doesn't, but he gets some time, because it's hard to watch the games, seeing what we're seeing. But it's even harder to watch the games, seeing what they're seeing, and hearing what it's like, because it can get toxic at Ibrox. That's not going to change. There's no magic wands, but unfortunately, I think that's the pain we have to go through.
I think you're right, mate. I think when you speak about the managers, but listen, there will be people out there who will be similar opinion to Bob here, who joined us at the start, and thinking that maybe McInnes is bit off more than they can chew. And there'll be people like yourselves who say, no, we can't do it. And history shows, as you've said, mate, it doesn't improve things automatically. It does take time, but that's something that you don't get a lot, particularly at your club, is time. I think, as you answered there, Gary, we've had 8 managers in the last 5 years, 7 permanents, and obviously Barry Ferguson's an interim. It's been, I said that last night on the show, it seems to have been a rinse and repeat of managers, recruitment. Something's got to give, but where do we start and how do we start?
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I personally think the club made a mistake. And I've said this all along. I think the club made a mistake by no giving Barry Ferguson the job full time and bringing in Russell Martin, who's an absolute car crash. We all know that. But Ferguson didn't do. He lost a couple of games, but look at what he was working with in the car crash that he took over. So I don't know, mate. It's hard to come on here and try and be positive. People might laugh here, but I don't think the conference would be a bad thing for Rangers at home to get that confidence back, have a run in Europe. The money's not much different for the Europa League if people look at it. So if you win a game, you get roughly the same money per point. And I think we can go on a decent run in that league. Do I think that's where Rangers should be? No. But where the club is at the moment, beggars cannot be choosers. So if we want to play in Europe, that's our level at the moment. Because if we can't beat a 2-bob mob for Poland, how do you think we're going to go on in a league?
I understand your point as well, mate, about European football. I spoke to Portbear in the pre-show, and I brought up the point that some people were of the opinion they wouldn't mind giving European football a miss completely this season, just to try and get some stability back and focus domestic. But on the flip side, the financial element, as you say, the money, the attraction as well of Europa League compared to Conference, it's a bit of a jump. Financially, it might not be, but who does suffer the most there financially is the supporters, mate. As you know, you see these teams that are in the Conference League and they're miles and miles and miles away, and that's an impact on the support yet again. So that would be a frustration, but I think you're right when you say, where are we as a club? Have we improved? I don't think we have. Is this now the level that we're at? It's a hard question, and it might be a harsh reality answer as well, mate.
Listen, everything's relative. People are getting excited about us signing £7 million players, right? If you look at the average player now in Europe, top players, in Europe, going between the top 5 leagues this season, they're all £100 million. That's your top. That's where Rangers used to shop 25, 30 years ago. Now, obviously, times have moved on. But Rangers used to shop in the £4-5 million player 25, 30 years ago. Now we're signing £7 million players. So we went, up £2 million, and everybody else was up 80 million. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we as a club, look at the finances and then look where we are. And obviously, I love Rangers, like everybody else listening to the show, and many other millions of bears probably around the world. But you have to be realistic. And we didn't get beat tonight because the other team we were playing were a team tonight. You could see that the way when Devlin came on and the boy went through the back of him and shoved him to the ground. That's a marker. Them players, because they've had a marker since they've been on. At 17, make sure you go through him. And they've done that. And I think it's a marker of where we're at the moment. I didn't see anybody running there, backing people up. I've seen Devlin pulling Dragovic out the way. Maybe there's too many leaders in the team. There's no leaders, but you know what I mean? Of the leaders we've got, who's the standout leader? Is it Shanklin? I don't see that at the moment. Leading by example, or, it's depressing. I don't know what to say.
Can you put your finger on it, Gary, where it's went wrong, whether it be this season or previous seasons? Because obviously we've recruitment's gone under a lot of scrutiny, and it's easy to have a go at recruitment. I done it myself last night on the show, and I'll be honest, I think it's been poor over a number of years, but it's easy to say it when we're not successful. When you're winning games and you're winning trophies, you don't look at recruitment as much, but you really look at it in detail when you're going through this pain barrier that we're going through all these years. But is it solely down to recruitment, or is it other factors, mate? Because I don't know the answers.
Well, I look at players around that team. I'm looking at the team tonight, the team that started tonight, right? And they've all got something, but the stuff they're missing, which is why they're with Rangers. So if you're looking at them, for instance, Big Fernandez, he ticks all the boxes, right? But he's got a mistake in him. He can be lazy when he's tracking back, and that's cost us a few goals this season already. Pandor looks like a good keeper. He's not really had a lot to do, make big saves and all like that. And the goals that we've conceded, he's not really been at mistakes for. Looking around, the South African guy that we've bought, not really seen a lot of him so far, although his passing tonight was horrendous. Sterling struts about like he doesn't care, but I think that's just the way the boy looks. Asgard, kind of, he's played his one game this season. It was decent, I think. And it was when he scored.
2 weeks ago, just poor. Carry on, Gary.
No, just looking through the team, mate. I don't. Do you know what? It's not even about the standard of player. I think they're just not a team. I'm looking at that group of players, and they look like they've just met. It's just like they've just rocked up in the back of a transit van and put some strips on and gone out and kicked a ball, but they don't look like they know where each other's going to be or what their patterns of play are supposed to be. When I get the ball, who am I giving it to? So it's just, we'll just knock it about and see if somebody creates a bit of magic.
We'll bring in Port, Gary, who's joined us. Evening, Port.
How you doing, lads? How you doing?
Port, we've got Gary on the show, mate. I don't know if you've heard his thoughts there in point, but if you want to come in, give your thoughts and anything back to Gary.
So one, mate. So one. Decent first half. Thought we've done all right the first half. Got the penalty. Thought, kick on for that. But I said to you before the first half of the show, mate, we needed an 80-minute performance tonight. And I spoke about quality, mate. And we just looked like we're shopping. I don't know, mate. A totally different market for what's needed to beat Rangers. This is again. I'm going to go back to it, Robert. This is down to recruitment. This is what it's down to. The recruitment's been absolutely shocking, and it's come up again tonight. I mean, for me, they look very unfit. I know. I don't think they look a fit team either. What the hell were they doing in pre-season?
Well, it's interesting you say that, mate. A lot of focus last week was on the fitness levels as well when the heat came into the equation. But then it kind of dawned on me that we had a pre-season training camp in Spain where it's probably similar, if not hotter temperatures. A lot of players were at the World Cup, which was in a lot of heat. Now, I know humidity has got a different kind of setting, Gary, but these are professional footballers. You expect a level of performance, and in these early games, we've not seen it yet. We've seen halves, we've seen glimpses, but we've not seen it click together yet, have we?
The only defence that I've got for the team is I sound empty saying this. I can hear people shout at the radio as I'm saying this, right? But if I'm making a defence, it's a new manager, it's a new captain. There's about how many new signings now? 7 new signings. Basically a new defence, new goalkeeper. So there's lots of news in there, right? And see, no matter how fit you are, right? If you don't know what you're doing with the ball, mentally that's draining. See if you get the ball, you're on a half turn, you know exactly where you're playing, or you know where you're looking up, or you know where your next pass is going to be, or if you lose it, you know how to recover, how to get back into your shape, you know your back's going to be covered, you know that takes away all that mental strain, right? Which strains you. But see if you're having to think about that constantly on the fly on the pitch, and you're having to think about that, and right, who's available, and you're having to get. That's training, man. Like the mental part, so the physical part, but the mental part drains you as well.
Is it going to be another season of mentality, Gary? Is that another year of listening to the word mentality getting questioned?
Well, listen, the only saving grace I can think is, you know, I laughed at Celtic when they appointed Postecoglou, who got off to an absolute horrendous start at Celtic, and then it all clicked very quickly, and then they were off on a run, and I'm hoping for something like that, and I was hoping that would be tonight. I was hoping tonight they'd go out, maybe get a couple of goals, win the game, get the Ibrox crowd up, get the PA on, get the fans. It's not happened, right? Now we go into the League Cup at the weekend, and woe betide the club and the management and the coaches if we don't win that game at the weekend. Honestly, like it would be the Ibrox are going to melt down.
Well, you had the reaction the other night, Gary, and I said it in the pre-show. If the players didn't know what pressure was playing for this club, they've learned it tonight, and they're going to learn it again come Sunday. I think Smurf's joined us. Evening, Smurf.
Hi, evening, troops. That's a sorry, innit? That's hard to take. My thoughts on that. I think it's been difficult. It's been a difficult week. We've lost two really key players for us through injury. He's mitigated that with his selection and his setup, and to all intents and purposes, you know, you're playing no too bad, and then he comes out after half time. He's changed it, and well, we see what happened. I think the recruitment's been. There's a lot of people been cheerleaders on Rangers Radio, you know, signing a Shankland's a no-brainer, etc. I never wanted Shankland at the club. I thought he was too old. People say, well, domestically he would get goals. He's too slow. There's no really too much to his game. I don't think he's good enough to play for Rangers. And I think we've seen that already. I agree that they don't look fit. They're devoid of confidence. Derek McInnes looks devoid of confidence, if I'm being honest. His body language. And look, it's early in the season. There's more signings to come in. We need a starter at right back, so we don't have that. And we need backup at left back. We need another centre half. We spoke about it last night. We need a midfielder, a proper midfielder that can just dictate playing, you know, for the middle of the park. And we need that focal point up front, which we don't have. And there's a lot of surgery needing done. There's a lot of dead wood needs to go out. I think some of the players that have come in already, I wouldn't want. I think McInnes has got to hold his hands up for some of his decisions for the bench tonight, and appointing Lawrence Shankland as captain for me is laughable. Given where he plays in the pitch, not having that either. And if they think they're under pressure now, they've got a double header against St Mirren at home, so we should be scoosing that. And that's no, you know, but it's not going to, considering the way we're playing and the way they've started the season, I don't think we can take their games for granted. Again, you've got Falkirk, Aberdeen away, Motherwell, a fly-in, and then we get an Old Firm game. So it's going to be relentless, and I think they're under pressure now. Let's see where we are after that Old Firm game. Let's see where we are then. And listen, this hasn't even started yet. He needs to turn this round pronto. No goat time. Pronto. I'm really worried about the season ahead. I'm really desperately worried. I don't know what you think, boys.
Does the worry come from McInnes, the manager, the players, the recruitment? I know you've said recruitment. We spoke about it last night. I think
it's a combination of all it. You know, look, I thought, right, McCrory, utility player, been around the club, understands the culture of the club, no really going to be a starter, but a jersey filler, right? And then I thought about it. Well, we've now got a younger probably a better player as well, version, and Leon King. So when I thought about that, I just couldn't understand. I bet that he went to the Championship and he got experience with Bristol, but other than his experience, I don't really see why you would bring him in and get rid of Leon King. I just can't see it. Leon King's 22-year-old. It's in fact, it's brainless. So, look, it is what it is. We are where we are. We don't have a right back. We do not have a starting right back at the club. Rangers are weaker. James Tavernier, who was past it, was already past it. Rangers are worse off without him. Now that, to me, should have been a priority signing. You know, regardless of his defensive frailties, he's and you know, if you look at the players and the teams and the era that he's played in, it's not really been supportive of him. What he's achieved in terms of goals and his contributions for Rangers has been remarkable. I wasn't his greatest fan, but at the end of the day, he stuck with his, and you know, he scored a remarkable haul of goals. He was one of our creative outlets, and he's not been replaced, and you need to replace that. You know, I just think I just think it's all kinds of wrong in a lot of different areas. You don't. I mean, there's so many players that we need to get out of the club, and what we don't need to be doing is replacing them with players of equal caliber. We need to up a level or levels in terms of quality. We really, really do, because all we're going to do, we're just going in circles.
All right, mate. I'll bring in Port Bear and then I'll go to Gary. Port Bear.
I said it pre-show, mate. I said it before the match. I felt this team, even with all the signings that was made, haven't progressed. And I still feel that way. You know, I've not felt this flat for a long, long time. And I hate to mention it again, but when you look across the city, you know, and they're shopping where they're shopping and bringing in the quality they're bringing in. You know, and we're bringing in players. Mate, I've seen enough. I've seen enough now of Dan Neil. I don't need to see. I don't need to see anywhere. Guys like Dan Neil. For me, Raskin's checked out. Fernandez was, you know, good in the first half. You know, there's just too many of them signings haven't worked out. And it's because we are shopping in a place where the quality needed for Rangers and needed for our club, you know, isn't there. And it's a sad indictment on that recruitment team again, because you spoke about it the other night on the show, and I was on you, mate, about, you know, the last 5 years of recruitment. This constantly ripping up squads and starting a game with new managers. Again, it's come back to bite us the backside, mate. That's what's happened here. This has come back to bite us the backside, constantly ripping up teams. Ideally, you only want to be making maybe 2, 3, 4 signings to add to your group a season. That's all you should be adding, and it should be absolute top quality. Right? That should be happening. Every year, if you're going, your turnover is going to be 7, 8, 9 signings. That's not good to anybody. How do we build a team for a start? How do you build a team that's going to get chopped and changed so much? And then to add to that, when you're bringing in the quality that we're bringing in, sorry, Robert, they're not good enough. Devlin, small fan with you, mate. I didn't want Gordon Shackman for day dot. I felt he'd seen his, you know, he's past his prime for me. Good domestic striker, but I was worried about him in Europe. I've always said, to me, he looks overweight. You know, he's slow, he's one pace. And I said before the kick-off the night, the striker that's left at Ibrox right now rely on service. And if we don't get service, we won't score goals. And I still believe that. You know, maybe the only one bright spark is Japanese boy Yakota. I think I enjoyed him the first half, but he was dead in his feet. You know, 60 minutes, 65 minutes, he was out. He was gone, absolutely gone. I don't know what I don't want to go on too much on McInnes' back. He's got to take responsibility for some of tonight as well. But who's signing the players at Ibrox first and foremost? Are these Derek McInnes' signings, or is it this? Again, we know who's doing it, the boys Thelwell and Purdy, but they are throwing Derek McInnes under a bus, lads. They are throwing the manager under a bus. What's he meant to do with that squad? How does he lift that squad, boys? I don't know how he gets. They're on the flare tonight. Well, I hope they're on the flare. I hope they're on the flare because that's how I feel.
Gary, that's the thing. We always supporters want Derek McInnes to succeed because we want Rangers to be successful. But he needs a hand, and you can clearly see that although, as Smurf's pointed out, we brought in 9 players, we still are short. We need the quality, the creativity, the pace, the goal scorer, the defence. There's still a lot of work to be done, but he needs a hand.
He's a trip to Loch Lomond, mate. I don't know. I don't think it's McInnes' fault. Ultimately, he's at the wheel, but there's a lot more that goes on at a modern day football club than just a manager, and that's why a lot of them are often called first team coaches now, because it's you're asked if you want a player, but how many managers go and actually watch a player now? Don't think that happens anymore, does it? That's how it used to be, because you get sent clips. I'm not being funny, right? I'm 44. If you clip up my best shots, right, I'll look outstanding, right? That's not a football player. You need to basically go and watch them. How do they move around the pitch? I don't think that happens nowadays. And you've got scouts out there, but ultimately it needs to be the guy that's signing them that's going to be using them and making the decisions on whether the player knows that needs to go and watch these players. I don't think that happens anywhere. I don't want to blame McInnes. I don't think the answer is getting rid of another manager, ripping it up, more players leaving, more players coming. I'm just going through. I've got a spreadsheet in front of me. I'm sitting in front of a computer, and I'm looking at the squad, mate. It is massive. It's so bloated, it's ridiculous. There's players at that club that aren't even going to get near the squads. And the squads nowadays, there's almost like 2 teams in there, because you've got the starting 11, then you've got like 10 subs named. So if you kind of get in 21 players, why are you even at the club? What's the point? Because it's not just on the game day, it's when you're training as well. Just sitting there twisting your thumbs because manager's got too many players, setting out cones and collecting balls. And that's what the youth team offer. But no, it's just, I think it's just, listen, we've made our bed, we need to lie in it. It's as simple as that. No matter how far we fall, yeah, we've got to walk through this, and that's not going to be nice to experience, but we've got to keep the faith. We've got to give McInnes a stab at this, because if he gets it wrong, we can't be any worse off than what we are now. We can't be. We'll go further into deeper into it, but what we got to do? Who are we going to bring in? Another manager? Who are you going to go and get? And forget this, anybody would come to Rangers and manage Rangers. They wouldn't at the moment. If you look at how many managers we've had out of recent history, you lose 4 games and you're out the door? That's what it is. We've not even lost 4 games, but you know what I mean? If you had a bad start with players that aren't yours, and then the players that you do bring in, they've got to absolutely, they've got to be unreal straight after that. And I know we're saying this is Rangers and we don't get away with it, and I get all that, but I don't think anybody can come anywhere close to understanding how hard it must be to play for Rangers in front of 50,000 fans and the expectation that's placed on them. I wouldn't do it. And I'll be honest, even if I had the ability, it's not about ability, it's about mentality. So you need a special type of player to pull on that shot. And unfortunately, it's hard to find them players, especially nowadays.
Smurf, it's a never-ending cycle. It seems, mate, that we seem to be having all these conversations at the start of seasons, at the end of seasons, and most of your shows have always been critiquing the games we see, but it always comes back to the same sort of conversation. The players that we bring in, the players not performing, and those that are sitting collecting a wage. It's a poor state of affair.
See the perfect metaphor for what's wrong. You look at the players, the legacy players for last season, in terms of midfielders that were already in situ at the club. They go out and putting Raskin aside because he's a cut above the rest, right? You go out and you sign a few more midfielders. None of them are really any better than what's already there. and then you've got to get rid of ones that are already there. You're just pushing oil round water. You're getting nowhere. You're absolutely getting nowhere. You're treading water. It's hopeless. When really the money involved, the wages to try and attract a guy like Dan Neil, who would be on big wages. He's came from Sunderland. And Sunderland are a big championship club, really, and they'll end up back down there. And they're in the Prem and whatever, and they think there's pressure there. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. And I don't think English Championship players are. There's this sort of idea that it's at a higher level. I don't see that coming for the Championship and coming to Rangers. Players have got the requisite quality or mentality to play at Ibrox. I just don't think. I don't think Dan Neil will go on to be anything special at Rangers. And when I look at the players that they've brought in, I would rather they pulled that resource. The players that were already there aren't any worse than what he's brought in, and brought in one real quality midfielder. I'd rather have done that than go out and shotgun and money all over the place. It's been mental. You don't go and replace your captain and have at right back. I'm not saying I don't mean we should have had a right back that was a captain. I just mean that guy was a personality at the club. He's not been replaced. With no goal cover at left back, we need another centre half. All the money we've spent in midfielders, we're no further forward. Absolutely no further forward. All we've been doing is making agents rich. And you look up front, there's really nothing there. There's nothing there. Honestly, recruitment's been atrocious, absolutely atrocious. And I'm no calling for Derek McInnes. You see, I'm no really going for him, but we'll see where we are. 6 domestic games for now. We'll see where we are, and the pressure will really be on him. Because I don't think he's got the squad. I mean, I'm frightened. Going to play Motherwell.
I think without looking too far ahead, Smith, we've got to look to Sunday first, and that's became a bigger game, Port better than what the Knights became. It's done, it's dusted, we can't change it. But it's a League Cup game at home. Again, a chance to go and right a few wrongs, but that weight of pressure and expectation going into that game has just grew massively after tonight's performance and result.
Guaranteed, Robert. Listen, I don't know where. I did say it pre-show, mate. I still struggle to understand what Derek McInnes's philosophy is with our club, and I know, right now he's got square pegs and round holes in regards to players he can pick for due to injuries. But there's something bigger going on. It's been going on longer before Derek McInnes, mate. It's been going on for years now and years at our club. There's a massive culture change needed at our club, and that's inside and outside. That's from the top to the bottom, by the way. This is people that we're signing. Number one, again, recruitment, right? We're signing people that don't understand what it's like to, play for Glasgow Rangers. For me, it's a massive problem. Derek McInnes, he'll know, he'll feel it. I guarantee he'll feel it. He's been there for the days of Walter Smith and that. He'll know exactly what needs to be done inside and out. Seeing till that gets fixed as well, mate. These guys running about the pitch tonight, for me, don't get it. They don't get it. They really don't get it. And if you add to that, like I said earlier on, the quality of the players, I don't see success with this current squad, and I hate to be so negative, but I can only see it. I can only see it to see it. I can only just critique what I'm seeing, try and figure it out a wee bit, and try and understand a wee bit. But I can see my own eyes, Robert. And ball with football, for a long, long time. And I know that the quality of Rangers right now, we're handing this league away yet again. We're only 2 games in. European football, we're out, like I said in the first half, this is your tournament, in my opinion, the Europa League. We're out of that and all. That's us dropping down into conference. It's just, as I said, mate, it's getting worse and worse and worse. I don't see any way forward. I really don't. I don't know who's going to lift this team for the weekend.
Gary, and you come, mate?
Listen, you were just talking about Dan Neil, and he's a football player, but I don't know if he's a Rangers football player. What I mean is, if you remember back to Tom Lawrence, he was Derby County's captain, came to Rangers, done nothing. Joe Rothwell, he kind of took that position, and now you've got Dan Neil. I would say there are 3 different players that have replaced each other at Rangers. It's just like they're reincarnations of each other. They're not going to set the header alight. They're not going to fix the problem in midfield. They're no terrible football players, but they're not going to be able to hold together a Rangers midfield that you need. But listen, we're not going to have a sitting here talking about it. I mean, we can get your opinion. There'll be people. This is what annoys me a wee bit, because I'll come on and all the other guys will come on and we'll talk about it, and I've got no problem talking about it and giving my opinion. But there'll be people upset with us giving our opinion on what we're saying, but they won't ring up and give their opinion. So if people have got a different opinion, ring up, man, and say what you've got to say. Nobody on this panel or nobody talking is going to say anything bad about it. Just we're not going to fix anything on Rangers Radio tonight, that's for sure. I just don't think we should be sacking managers. That's the bottom line. I just think, for instance, look at the amount of substitutions that he's having to make at the moment. He has not got a clue who his best players are, what his best team is, what his best formation is. He should have that nailed down by now, but he's no. I think that the players are young boys, and whether you're a young boy coming through or whether you're an established young boy, like Raskin's a young boy. You might think he's an international football player. He's just played in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Still a young boy, and now he's on the verge of probably a big move to a bigger league, probably on more money. And the players will be talking about that as soon as they get in the changing room, have a shower, kick their kit off. They'll all be saying, "Oh, what's happening? Who's your agent talking to?" and all that. That creates division. It's no good. Do you know what I mean? All them players that are in that changing room need to be together. But the way we are at the moment, we have to have Raskin playing. And then there'll be people not happy that Raskin's playing because they know that he's going to be at the door soon. So they'll be thinking, well, I should be playing in his place. But you can't even play a player of his quality. Even though he was absolutely, like a lot of players tonight, they didn't merit getting the start they did. But if they didn't play and it went like this, McInnes would be even there on the chopping block. So anyway, I'm going around in circles, you know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question, Gary?
Aye.
You there, Gary?
Aye.
I you go, Fox.
Is it a case, are they bad players or did they just not look coached to me? And I think that's the problem. But there is no actual coaching that we see on the park. That team the night that we played, mate, they could pass and move, they could play out of defence, they could create chances, they could cross balls and try and get strikers onto the end of it. We look nothing like that. And for me, it's the coaching that's at fault. I don't think they're all bad players we've got. I just think that there's no story to tell when they go into the park, you know.
Well, the thing is, mate, is see the amount of players that Rangers have at the moment, right? They all have to turn up for work. It's not that you can turn around to say, Ross McCausland, don't come in tomorrow, wee man, you just stay at home, so I don't need you. So when he turns up, right, and he's there at the training ground, right, you have to try and put a session on that includes everybody, right? And how do you work on patterns of play? Patterns of play are normally done with a 9v9, right? And it's boring, but you need to do it. But if you've got too many players, you 9v9, right? 18 players. So what do you do with others? Just go there, boys, and pick up some cones you need a small squad. That's why having too big a squad, man, is a nightmare to coach. You can't get your points across. People are messing about because they're distracted. As again, they're young boys. They're going to mess about. You need to capture them, right? You need to get them involved and you get them to buy in. I'm not saying they're messing about now, but what I'm saying is in Spain, when they were doing pre-season, big bloated squad, it creates problems because they have to turn up to work. But how do you get them all involved? How do you get the coaching across? How do you get it into them? This is what I want you to do. You're going to be my main man on the wing. Well, I don't know if you're, because actually we're bringing somebody else in. You're going to be my main two in the middle of midfield this season. Well, I don't know, because you might get sold, Raskin. Big bloated squad. And that's part of the problem is this over years and years and years, bringing players in, loaning players out. Like Cifuentes and who's the other, Cortez, and who's the other, Danilo. These are all players that are there, and then they get loaned out. So that's the name 3 players that play for Rangers that don't even play for Rangers at the moment. But you've got other players around there. McCausland, what's happening to him? You've got him on loan. But he's still there now. Still having to turn up at training. Still having to go to his work. Standing there like a traffic code. It's not good.
Smurf, do you want to come in on Fox's point there, mate?
Right, well, over the course of the season, you do need a squad. We've got, to all intents and purposes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centre backs at the club. 2 are trying to get out the door. 1's injured, who be a starter. You need a sizable squad. I disagree with the point we're asking being a young boy. He's 25-year-old. He's not a young boy anymore. He's a seasoned professional now, and ultimately, they're not well coached. I agree that he's no. McInnes won't know his best who's best 11 is or who his best players are, but he'll certainly know who they're not. But he's forced to play people and players that ordinarily, all things being equal, would want to play. He's got to play Fernandes, because who else is there? There's a lot of things wrong. There's a lot more churn in the squad needed, but there's no point in getting rid of somebody and bringing back light for light in terms of ability. You need to upgrade. Rangers need to upgrade. They need to bring in less volume, more quality. We still need a squad. We had to say 2 players for every position, 3 goalkeepers. So, we need that going forward.
Of course,
but in terms of, there's a World Cup as well. Don't forget that players have been away, so they're at different stages. Coming back for the World Cup, joining the squad at different points and stuff like that. But it's not been easy, and it'll be a jump for McInnes as well. Sorry to say McInnes was a player at Rangers. He was a bit part player at Rangers, and that was a long time ago. He's now come back to Rangers as a manager, and it's a Rangers that's been unsuccessful for half a generation. So what can you do? He's up against it.
It's a difficult time, and we've been here before, and the only thing we can do is keep looking forward and hoping it gets better. They seem to keep saying it every season, but it's all we can do at the minute, and we'll see where it takes us. But final word from yourself, Gary. Thanks for taking the time to phone in, pal. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
No, it's always good to ring up. I get what thing he's saying about Raskin being 25. It's just he's been playing football a few years, but for me, 25 is still a young boy. But I know what you mean by season pros. But final word, mate. It is what it is, innit? We have to. I don't think Rangers are going to be sacking managers. The only way that this is going to end is we have to keep pushing forward into the unknown, because I don't think the answer is getting rid of managers again and better players. That new manager, that's just mental. There's no the right choice.
All right, mate. Cheers for taking the time as always. Good to hear from you.
No worries.
Cheers, pal. Final word from yourself, Smurf.
Onwards and upwards. We've just got to see how the coin turns and see what signings we get in. We need players out. We need quality in. More quality, less volume, and we'll see where it takes us. But keep believing in it. Right. Good night, chaps. Take it easy.
Cheers, Smurf. Port Bear, we do need signings in. We'll obviously get Driek in, believe announcement probably tomorrow. There was an issue with paperwork. And James Penrice is coming to the club on loan with an option to buy with a medical tomorrow as well, mate. We did know it earlier on, but had to wait just for confirmation. You never know if these things go to plan or not. People can fail medicals. But it looks like that's a go as well, mate. But again, final word from yourself, pal.
I know, mate. Listen, I don't like coming on here and being so negative about it, at times, mate, I really don't. But unless we get 18 days, Robert, transfer window's open for, unless we bring in quality to a level that's going to lift this team and give the manager a hand, I think we're in for a horrible season, mate. I have to be honest. I think I just, unless the quality's brought in to help that squad and experience, I just think we're going to have a pretty poor season. And it'll end up getting turned into a season, hopefully, basically building a team for next year. That's my last point on it tonight, mate. I'm absolutely shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how far we've went back. Good night, mate, and cheers. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Port. Always a pleasure. Listen, a big thanks to Port for doing the show with me, of course. The pre-show as well earlier on. Thanks to Bob J, Gary and Smurf for phoning in and taking the time to join us here. Thanks to Old School Blue and Fox doing the technicals, and Fox also with a wee cameo appearance tonight on the show as well. Always good to hear from the Fox. And thank you very much to those who have listened and joined us on the social channels tonight. A lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. It's a familiar feeling, but at the end of the day, we're still the people, and that will always be the same. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 PM, and I'm sure the guys will go over the game and a lot more talking points, and we might have some signings. Take it away, Old School Blue.